And yeah, just drop me a one in the comment to let me know that my stream is live. Yep, it looks like we're all live. Okay, so we're good to go. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Yeah, we're back talking about Darwin, and I hope you enjoyed the stream last night. I finished the discussion on Did Jesus Marry, which turns out to be an incredibly convoluted hoax and conspiracy theory. Um, Yeah, so we've got Simon Said, welcome, Noah Act, and Joel Thomas. And let me see, I'm binge watching your channel, Lloyd. It's amazing. I love the presentation and the information on your channel. It's like finding gold. Incredible research. Thank you, Simon. Fortunato Marina, welcome. And PJ, Vegetal, welcome. Always good to see you. Yeah, so good to be back. Yeah, guys, so today we're talking about Darwin. And as you know, I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I may not want to go too long. But let me pull this up. Yeah. And Tom, welcome. Time Phaser, welcome. Eric Montes, Lilo Mine, welcome. Yeah. So today we're talking about Darwin, and we finished on a slide that I covered. I covered Carl Jung and a guy called Sick Man Fraud. So here on the right is Carl Jung. On the left is a guy called a psychologist called Sick Man Fraud, King of Mathematics. Welcome. Excellent. Thank you, King of Mathematics. Look, let me be honest, because most people misunderstand me on that point. There's been an issue where Christians have made the error of going out of their way to hate Jews, and this has led to violence. I have an issue with that. This is wrong. We have blood in our hands for having done this. However, at one point, the Catholic Church certainly seemed to have aided and abetted this view, and that is something that is wrong. And I think this is something that the Catholic Church has spoken about. On the other hand, you've got Protestants that are guilty of the very same, and few of those are willing to admit they've made the error. And Martin Luther recommended the annihilation and extermination of this particular group. Martin Luther wrote this, Martin Luther said this. So, but Protestants don't seem to want to acknowledge the fact that Martin Luther believed in the genocide of that group. So this for me is an issue. Now, yes, there are criticisms that can be made about Judaism. There are criticisms that can be made about the rabbis. Yeah, there are definitely some weird things in there. But usually those things are not the things that people, often quote unquote Christians, are quite bluntly lying about. If they were willing to speak about legitimate criticisms, I would listen. But if you're going to lie, well, then I'm going to call you a liar. Very simple. And yeah, also, there's two forms of bigotry that are, and outright racism and hatred that are highly acceptable today. Well, three. Let's see. The hatred of Jews is commonly accepted and tolerated, and very often by Christians, I see on YouTube, is actively promoted. Two, hatred of Catholics. Right. For me, this is a problem. And three, the hatred of white people. That's also a problem. These are disgusting, toxic things which are allowed to fester and continued and even given legal sanction in many cases. So yeah, I have a problem with these things. Do I believe in evolution? Look, many scientists believed theistic evolution was the norm for a long time before Darwin. And many scientists believe that who's to say God doesn't use some form of evolution? But Darwinian evolution is a completely different idea than the idea of evolution. Questions and answers. Can't wait, Lloyd. Cooking and listening. Thank you. um, yeah, the racism of low expectations. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Eric Montes. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So, guys, So we spoke about sick man fraud, and then we spoke about Jung, and we've realized that these two are a little bit insane. And of course, Carl Jung had his little imaginary friend called Philemon, and Philemon used to talk to him and used to have walks and talks with Philemon, and Philemon used to teach him stuff. And this, yeah, that just says that he's a little odd. We also know that Carl Jung was an outright Gnostic, and I believe also pro-Nazi. So, there's some issues there. And this is the kind of person that we are supposed to view as some kind of social hero, as some kind of intellectual giant that we have to respect and bow down to. And when atheists attack the church, of course, they want to cite all sorts of moral failings. But yet, somehow, when I present serious moral failings of the heroes of atheism and the heroes of science, it's like, well, that doesn't affect them. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Right? Because these immoral people, these poisoned trees bear poisoned fruit. He's not completely normal, exactly, Rachel. So-called Christians would hate Jewish people so much when Christ in human form was Jewish. Correct. Yes, Joel. All right, so atheists, of course, believe in Marx and Darwin. As we know, 91% of atheists do not believe in atheism as a thing, but 91% of them, 91% of atheists believe in Darwinism. So this is Michael Ruse. Michael Ruse is a very well-known atheist. He's got your Darwinism as religion. So let's bring up this from Wikipedia. Ruse delivered some of the 2001 Gifford Lectures in Natural Theology. His lectures on evolutionary naturalism are a Darwinian understanding of epistemology, of how we know things, and a Darwinian understanding of ethics. And Darwin's ethics, we've already discussed. Darwin believed that might makes right. That if you kill your neighbor to take his stuff and you survive and they don't, well, that's right. Right? Wormius, you've said a few things that I think are, let's just say, less than intelligent, less than educated. Okay, the standing of Christianity. Yeah, you don't seem to understand a few things. So, since 2013, Ruse has been listed on the Advisory Council of the National Center for Science Education. So these people, as we've mentioned, have wormed their way into. Could you elaborate? Actually, no. I'm not going to. I'm busy talking on something else. I'm not having a private conversation with you. So how about you just listen rather than insert your false opinion? And also, he says here that these people have wormed their way into academia and they are making decisions. Now, if they don't believe in ethics, which means that their ethics has no standing, if they believe in Darwin, then they have to believe that there is no moral code. There is no moral law, right? And very simply, he says here, Ruse said new atheists do the side of science a grave disservice to scholarship, and that Dawkins in the God Delusion would fail any introductory philosophy or religion course. And the God Delusion makes him ashamed to be an atheist. Thank you. He's right about that, at least. Okay, so that's Michael Ruse. Let's see what else Michael Ruse tells us. Darwinism, hello, Dragon, welcome. So, it says here, Darwinism is a religion, and has always been one. So says distinguished atheist philosopher Michael Ruse, whose 2016 book, Darwinism as Religion, proposes that evolutionary theory is no mere explanation for our planet's biology, but a worldview that exceeds the warrant of science. Fascinating. For the past 150 years, Ruse claims evolutionary thinking generally and Darwinian thinking in particular have taken on the form and role of religion. Sola Darwinia, exactly, Daniel, precisely. So that's exactly the case. Remember I said Darwinism is pagan philosophy. It's just a rehash of old pagan philosophy. It is a theology. It is not science. Right, continuing. Darwinian theory has served as a rival to the Christian worldview since the mid-Victorian period. I mean, these are fascinating statements coming from a very highly educated professor who is a devout atheist, of all things. In the way that evolution tries to speak of the nature of humans and their place in the scheme of things, we have a religion, a secular religious perspective. So these are secular religionists. It's really fascinating. And then, of course, here's got another book, Oxford Academic, The Evolution of Atheism. So you've got Michael Ruse's book, and then Oxford Academic has published this paper by Stephen LeDroux, The Evolution of Atheism, the Politics of a Modern Movement, because these are political movements, believe it or not. And it identifies two major streams of atheist thought that emerged in the 19th century. One, scientific atheism, which is grounded in the natural sciences, and Darwinism. So one of the major streams of atheist thought is scientific atheism grounded in Darwinism. And as we've seen, Darwinism is amoral. It has no moral limits. It simply believes in might makes right, survival of the fittest, kill your neighbor. As simple as that. Those were Darwin's words. That the advanced races would wipe out the less advanced races. And the less advanced races tend to look like me, right? That's according to Darwin. First time live on this channel, Christian Metal Squad, welcome. Vegetable serve as the foundation of Marxism. Yes, so let's have a look. And humanistic atheism, which arose from the social scientists, most importantly from Karl Marx. Exactly, Vegetable. So you've got two streams: Darwinist atheist beliefs and Marxist atheists' beliefs. And don't forget, Karl Marx insisted that his was scientific atheism. These two forms of atheism were attached to distinct political projects. So Darwinism is a political project. It is not neutral. So atheists might say that, well, atheism is not a belief. It's a lack of belief. Atheists don't believe in anything, except 91% of atheists believe in Darwinism. So they believe in Darwinism, and Darwinism is political, and it is religious. It is their political religion. In other words, it's like Islam. It's a theocracy. So they accuse us of wanting a theocracy simply because they themselves want a theocracy. It's just projection, right? So Darwinism is a philosophy, not a science. It's effectively a theology. Just like Marxism is a theology, it is not a financial or political system. Sorry, it's not a economic system. It's a theology. All right, Dawkins. Richard Dawkins is a vocal atheist with about 15 books, most related to proving Darwin's theory of evolution, debunking religious beliefs in a creator God. And he says, I think a case can be made that faith is one of the world's great evils, comparable to the smallpox virus, but harder to eradicate. Welcome, Ben Yosef, cool servant. Welcome, Robert Janssens. Welcome. Right. Now, of course, we've discussed this lie about atheists claiming that Christianity or religion has been the most violent thing to ever erupt on earth. This is completely false. There's no evidence to prove that fact. We can prove that atheism has had more people killed than any other system in the last 2,000 years. So, from his works, accepting this theory makes you independent from the belief in a creator. His book, The Blind Watchmaker, says, an atheist before Darwin could have said, following Hume, I have no explanation for complex biological design. All I know is that God isn't a good explanation, so we must wait and hope that somebody comes up with a better one. I can't help feeling that such a position, though logically sound, would have left one feeling unsatisfied, and that although atheism might have been logically tenable before Darwin, Darwin made it possible to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. We'll keep this in mind when atheists are throwing Darwin under the bus. Mal Donnelly, welcome. XYZ, well, good to see you. Yeah. So, in The Selfish Gene, he goes on to say that understanding of evolution is the benchmark of the value of a society. Intelligent life on a planet comes of age when it first works out the reason for its own existence. If superior creatures from space ever visit Earth, the first question they will ask in order to assess the level of our civilization is, have they discovered evolution yet? Yeah, no wonder Michael Roos said this man would fail basic first-year philosophy and religion. So, have they discovered evolution? So this man is making an assertion. Anyway, be that as it may, let's talk about Dawkins on eugenics, because we know the Darwin family were all into eugenics. Darwin was the founder of eugenics, even though he didn't name it. His cousin named it, but it's all part of the Darwin family. But Dawkins, of course, is a eugenicist, even if he can't directly admit so. Dawkins on eugenics. From Eugenics May Not Be Bad. It's an article from the 2006 edition of Scotland's Sunday Herald. Right, 1906. I think that's 11th. Actually, no, it's November 19th, 2006 edition of Scotland's Sunday Herald. And I saw this article in the National Review as well, because it covers that. This is a eugenics certificate. This guarantees that I've examined the same of this card and find a perfect physical and mental balance, and unusually strong eugenic love possibilities, well fitted to promote the happiness and future welfare of the race. This was a very common thing back in the day, these eugenic certificates. And of course, these guys who had this symbol here, they loved them some of that stuff, all right? In the 1920s and 30s, scientists from both the political left and right would have found the idea of designer babies particularly dangerous, though of course they would not have used that phrase. Today, I suspect that the idea is too dangerous for comfortable discussion, and my conjecture is that Adolf Hitler is responsible for the change, because this idea of eugenics was heavily promoted by the Nazis, because they themselves were heavily invested in ideas of Darwin. They were promoting the ideas of Darwin. They were pushing the ideas of Darwin. Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf had clearly read Darwin and was promoting Darwin. He was paraphrasing and discussing Darwin's ideas. So, of course, Adolf Hitler then showed what happens when Darwin's ideas are promoted. Yes, Robert, eugenic is a euphemism because, yeah, the two are very well connected. Nobody wants to be caught agreeing with that monster, even in a single particular. The spectre of Hitler has led some scientists to stray from ought to is, and deny that breeding for human qualities is even possible. The primary supporters of eugenics in the 19th and 20th centuries are Nazis, Nazi scientists, the freethinkers, political progressives, atheists, and religious liberals. The opponents of eugenics are overt religionists of orthodox persuasion. So, understand the implications here. The people that believed in eugenics are the free thinkers, your atheists, your scientists, your Nazis. So atheists are firmly on the sides of Nazis when it comes to this, because they're the good guys. As you know, atheists are the good guys. And the Christians, those evil Christians, are against this idea, which the Nazis and the atheists and the scientists promote. So these guys are obsessed with murdering unfit babies. Correct. Yeah, that was the foundation of their master race mantra, says Vegetal. Yes, correct. So, nothing to do with atheism. Nothing ever has anything to do with atheism. This is the theological and scientific commentary on Darwin's Origin of Species and Darwin's Dangerous Idea by Daniel Dennett, and an article in The Lancet, a very well-known medical journal. Right? Now, beginning in the late 19th century, a vigorous brand of atheism has used Darwin's model as ammunition in its attack on religious faith. Daniel Dennett believes that Darwin's idea of natural selection is the best idea that anyone has ever had. Hold on, here you've got an atheist. Sorry I'm late. Deep knee bends for me today. Oh, yeah. A couple of squats too, horse. A couple of squats as well. All right? So, Daniel Dennett believes that Darwin's idea of natural selection is the best idea that anyone has ever had. He puts it ahead of Newton and Einstein and everyone else. That's in page 21 of the book Darwin's Dangerous Idea. Check in my archive. There should be a copy of the book in the archive. Check page 21. Let me lay my cards on the table. If I were to give an award for the single best idea anyone has ever had, I'd give it to Darwin, ahead of Newton and Einstein and everyone else. In a single stroke, the idea of evolution by natural selection unifies the realm of life, meaning, and purpose. Although Darwinists will tell us, and we're soon going to see what atheists have to say, we're looking at the atheist implications today to some degree, and they say there's no morals, there's no meaning, there is no purpose, and Dawkins bluntly tells us there is no morals, there's no meaning, there is no purpose to life. And of course, they take the side of the Nazis. Okay, so they cannot be the good guys, right? And with the realm of space and time, cause and effect, mechanism, and physical law, Darwinism is the key framework. So the first quote is from this book, second from that one, third one from the Lancet. Darwinism is the key framework of modern science. Okay, that's fantastic. So Darwin was an insane psychopath who loved to murder small animals with hammers and rocks in his bare hands. And we now have to accept that his ideas, this man's ideas of murdering the unfit, murdering the inferior races. Someone please point out which those are, right? By the advanced races, which he specifically let us know are the white races of Europe. But his ideas founded modern science. So we've got to accept that his ideas are all good, really, except for the murdering part. Just ignore that. It brings to life, and by extension to ourselves, the models of material existence, existential isolation, and inevitable progress. It is totemic because it represents means of knowing, and because without it, our ways of seeing would be incoherent. No, Darwinism is itself incoherent paganism. And although philosophically questionable, they seem essential. Darwin and the Philosophers in The Lancet. Okay, we just click on that link so we can have a look at the article here. Just so you know, I didn't make that up. It's right here, The Lancet, Darwin and the Philosophers. Here's the article. All right, you can download it from here. So you can go to The Lancet, go to Darwin and the Philosophers, and you can download the entire article right there for yourselves. All right. William Provine. So let's look at and see what atheists actually think about Darwinism and what they tell us the implications are for morality, for society. Bang Bang Charles, research hammer came down. Yes, of course. Yes. Charles's hammer. Charles the Hammer. Yeah. Darwin won the Darwin Award for most of his children by marrying his cousin. Yes, exactly. Lightning mud turning into monkeyfish frogs is the greatest idea ever. Yes, Darwin Awards, correct. When you die, you're not going to be surprised because you're going to be completely dead. Now, if I find myself aware after I'm dead, I'm going to be really surprised. But at least I'm going to go to hell, where I won't have all those grinning preachers from Sunday morning listening, and that's William Provine. And of course, William Provine, rest in peace, noble in his honesty. That's in Evolution News, right? And he's a well-known scholar as well. Yeah, he hopes this is the case. I'm sure he's going to love it. I'm sure he's loving it down there right now. Let me summarize my views on what modern evolutionary biology tells us loud and clear, and Dawkins tells us the same thing. And these are basically Darwin's views. William Provine tells us, PhD, right? There are no gods, no purposes, and no goal-directed forces of any kind. Hold on, the Lancet just told us Darwin gives us purpose, gives us goal, gives us morals, gives us meaning, gives us... And now you've got this atheist going, well, that's not true. And then Dawkins himself says, no, that's not true. Right? There is no life after death. When I die, I'm absolutely certain I'm going to be dead. That's the end of me. There is no ultimate foundation for ethics, no ultimate meaning in life, and no free will for humans either. What an unintelligible idea. So free will is an unintelligible idea. But then again, it was unintelligible to people by the name of Luther and Calvin as well. I thought philosophy meant love of wisdom, not love of murder, says Rachel Barnett. And yes, that is true, but Darwin's a smart man. It's the greatest idea ever. He knows more than you. So really, how dare you? How dare you question Darwin and these smart atheists? Darwin gives goals, eliminate undesirables. Yes, exactly. I wonder if he thought his own sentence had a purpose. Yeah, who knows? Just rephrase that, Vegetal. I'm not sure I understand you. So Christian humanism has a great deal going for it. It's warm and kindly in many ways. That's the good part. The bad part is that you have to suspend your rational mind. You have to be stupid to be a Christian. The bad part is really nasty. Atheistic humanism has the advantage of fitting natural minds trying to understand the world. And all you need to do is give them a hammer and point them at the animals, the small animals. So yeah, that's because that's natural. Yeah. But atheists are adamant that Western world was not founded by Christian morality, but secular atheism. Yeah, paganism, you mean. Paganism, Pedro. So yeah, atheists are idiots. I mean, their philosophy is just... Yeah. Anyway. So Darwin and his theory of evolution. William Provine, at Cornell University, biology professor, when Darwin deduced the theory of natural selection to explain the adaptations in which he had previously seen the handiwork of God, he knew that he was committing cultural murder. He understood immediately that if natural selection explained adaptations and evolution by descent were true, then the argument from design was dead. This was Darwin's attack on the Catholic Church. Now, Christianity in general, certainly, but on the Catholic Church in particular, against Aquinas, because Aquinas was the one that developed the argument from design. And let's see, the argument from design was dead, and all that went with it, namely the existence of a personal God, free will, life after death, immutable moral laws. So atheists are telling us that there are no moral laws. It's whatever you can get away with. Everything is subjective. So atheism is not built on reason. It's built on subjectivity. And no ultimate meaning in life. The immediate reaction to Darwin's On the Origin of Species, in addition to favorable and admiring responses from relatively few scientists, because scientists were horrified by Darwin's ideas, was an understandable fear and disgust that has never disappeared from Western culture. So yes, Darwin's ideas are toxic. And the fact that scientists were repelled and disgusted by Darwin's original thesis and idea, this tells us that, yeah, his idea has massive implications for science, for society. Except all atheists want to be protected by moral laws. Exactly. Yeah, look, I mean, it makes no sense. This is John Marks Templeton. He's basically, so in this article here, Evidence of Purpose, Scientists Discovered Creativity, and the article called Dare Scientists Believe in Design by William B. Provine, 1994, page 30. Darwin fully understood, from Pew Research Center, Darwin fully understood and at times agonized over the threat that his work might pose to traditional religious belief, explaining in an 1860 letter to American botanist Asa Gray that he had no intention to write atheistically. The man was an atheist. He admitted to being an atheist. He's an outright atheist. He's lying. But he went on, I cannot see. And remember, as a child, he said he was an inveterate liar as a child. He lied all the time as a child. So maybe he continues to do so as an adult. But he went on, I cannot see as plainly as others do evidence of design and beneficence on all sides of us. There's too much misery in the world. Maybe if he wasn't stooping his cousin, his kids wouldn't have all died, and then he wouldn't have felt so bad. And I mean, over 50% of his family were inbred, so maybe they wouldn't have had so many dead kids if they weren't doing that. Then he would have had less misery because he wouldn't have been, his mom wouldn't have died and early, and his kids wouldn't have died early, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Yeah, Darwin did not make a great, yeah, every other person believes good because they paint Darwin as a saint. They don't tell us the bits about Darwin that are unpleasant for a very good reason, and maybe we need to start making that public. Perhaps that's too logical, Lloyd. Yes, Ernesto, yeah, yeah. Let me see, have I missed anything? Yeah, guys, if you do enjoy this, please do like and subscribe. Let people know about this. Okay, so is it moral prejudice or morality? In his latest book, The Moral Landscape, How Science Can Determine Human Values. Science can give us human values. Darwinian science, don't forget. Sam Harris shifts his sights to provide an evolutionary account of the origins of human morality. Okay, right? He possesses a sharp wit and an even sharper pen, and his attacks on mainstream religion had a scorched earth intensity. Sound like Darwin's good friend. Yeah, Darwin's ideas are the best as long as you're not his cousin or a small animal. Yeah, keep the hammers away from him. But a key Darwinian term is not defined. Darwinism supposedly explains how organisms become more fit or better adapted to their environment. But fitness is not and cannot be defined except in terms of existence. Remember, Darwin said that the inferior races are not fit and therefore they're going to be murdered by the superior races. Who makes that determination? How does he say that you are not fit because you're born in Africa? Because if you exist, then you are fit because nature has built you because you are fit. So, right, it says here, if an animal exists, it is fit, otherwise it wouldn't exist. It is not possible to specify all the useful parts of that animal in order to give an exhaustive causal account of fitness. If an organism possesses features that appear on the surface to be as inconvenient as the peacock's tail or the top-heavy antlers of a stag, the existence of stags and peacocks proves that these animals are in fact fit. Pedro Jr. says, atheists should just say Charles Darwin, peace be upon him at this point. You're right. You're right. Darwinian theory is not falsifiable by any observation. And when Victorians heard the arguments of Charles Darwin concerning evolution and the use of these arguments to reject belief in God, they did not evaluate these arguments on the basis of a disembodied reason, but rather through their moral standpoints. Jonathan A. Landman, A Secular Mind. So they realized Darwin has very strong religious implications and moral implications. Darwin was trying to kill God. And we know what Darwin's morality was like. So just give me a second. So this gives us insight into Darwin's ultimate moral standpoint. Richard Dawkins and Singer, you know who she is, we'll see her in a moment again, murder is okay. Richard Dawkins, evolutionary biologist and prominent atheist, has been a vocal critic of Christianity and has used Darwinian science to argue against traditional Christian ethics. Now understand there's science and there's Darwinian science. In The Selfish Gene, he asserts that morality is a result of natural selection, that religious moral codes are unnecessary. That's fantastic, except they have subjective moral codes, and thus perhaps they do need religious moral codes. Peter Singer, philosopher and bioethicist, has used Darwinian ideas to challenge Christian ethics. Singer thinks voluntary euthanasia is morally justified. Disabled non-persons may be killed. We discussed Peter Singer earlier, right, in the show. And of course, this is exactly what Martin Luther stated, that, yeah, maybe we should kill the disabled. Right? No newborn should be considered a person for 30 days, and the attending physician should kill some disabled babies on the spot. Thank you, Peter Singer. So let's have a look at what Peter Singer has to tell us. Right, Death with a Happy Face, Peter Singer's bold defense of infanticide. Now, do understand this is what the Romans practiced. The Romans would kill children. They would throw them into the rubbish, and Christians would rescue them from the rubbish. So this shows the difference between the Christian idea of morality and, of course, the Roman pagan idea. And these atheists are wanting to bring back paganism. They want to bring back the practices of paganism and destroy the changes that were brought by Christians to make the world more moral. Yeah, they are rabid theocrats. Exactly, Aaron Somerville. Yeah, so, for instance, up to the age of 2 years, a Roman father could murder his child with no consequences because the child was not considered a human. In Roman society, the pater familia, the family head, had absolute control of the baby's life and could leave the baby to die with no legal consequences. Romans didn't kill unwanted newborns directly. They abandoned them on the street or threw them in the garbage. The practice of abandoning unwanted infants was called exposure. since the baby died from exposure to the elements. And the Guardian called him the most dangerous man in the world. He's a philosopher who eats no meat or dairy. Oh, he's so holy because he's a vegan. Great stuff. And thinks we're no better than animals. Oh, fantastic. He thinks a chimp has more right to exist than a person and that killing babies can be justified. He's hated and feared for daring to challenge the sanctity of human life. Kevin Toulis on the controversial philosophy of Peter Singer. This, we're supposed to go, fantastic. He's an atheist. He's 30 points of IQ smarter than all of us because he's an atheist. Yes, that's what we're supposed to believe now. This is what atheism brings us. So, yeah. The Spartans had that practice. The Greeks may have had it. I'm not sure. So, current affairs. Now, Peter Singer argues that it might be okay to rape disabled people. We've discussed this already. And that's Peter Singer, right? This is his morality because they're not real people. They're not quite compos mentis. Therefore, they don't meet the standard of being conscious. Therefore, you can do that. Don't want the baby after it's born. Ralph Northam describing the fate of an unwanted newborn. Ralph Northam is an American politician. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated. If this is what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physician and the mother. That is Ralph Northam. Notice the halo and the polite, vague language. He doesn't say we're going to murder the baby. Look how they photographed this guy to put a halo around his head. Ralph Northam. See? They believe this is godly. They want to make this out to be Christian. This man is holy. That's, yeah. Richard Dawkins. Some people are going to get hurt. Other people are going to get lucky. And you won't find any rhyme or reason in it, nor any justice. The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, and no good. Nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. So here's a guy telling us, so atheists are saying, on the one hand, hold on, we are hypocrites and we contradict ourselves. Science gives us morals. Yes, we can murder babies, we can rape the disabled, we can kill the disabled, we can kill those who are ill. It's fine. So this is, man, it makes me want to scream. It really makes me angry. These people are hypocrites. These people are evil. These people are disgusting. And they're liars because on the one hand they want to tell you one thing, but they are all over the place. They are claiming they have morals and then they're saying they don't have morals. Disgusting pigs. What's that? This is also Dawkins. Religion is evil. Yes, vegetable asbestos. Exactly. And and scholars are trying to tell me that this garbage philosophy is the same philosophy that brought up Western civilization. I'm so disgusted. Yes. So guys, this is exactly what we're dealing with. Let's have a look at a very famous woman, abortion, infanticide, and Planned Parenthood. Large families. For the sake of those who find difficulty in adjusting old-fashioned ideas to the facts, the most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. And of course, we get that from Margaret Sanger, the founder of the Planned Parenthood Association. Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League in 1921. A public health nurse, she opened the first birth control clinic in the US in Brooklyn in 1916. She has long been lauded as a feminist icon and pioneer in killing babies legally in the name of science, i.e. eugenics. This is a Darwinian practice. This is something that Moloch would say, yes, exactly. She wrote this in the book, The Woman and the New Race. Woman and the New Race by Margaret Sanger. Darwinian eugenics is a discredited belief in improving the human race through selective breeding, but also warfare targeted at poor people, the disabled, those who dislike, and non-Aryans. In one egregious example, the idea of killing the Jews was, of course, according to the Nazis, cleansing the human race. It was social hygiene or racial hygiene, cleaning the dirt out of the gene pool. Do you understand? This was Darwinian. So this is what Darwin leads to. Darwin causes death. Darwinianism is just death. Anakatana says at this point, atheism is a mental illness. Yes, I would agree. That is true. That is entirely 100% true. Give me 1 second, please. I want to show you guys something while I'm here. I do want to mention that I am starting to. Uh, I want to mention that I'm starting to make all my presentations available. Oops. Bugger. Yeah. I do want to mention that I'm starting to make my I'm losing my small mind here. That's when I do this when I'm feeling sick. Um, so where do I find my shop? Okay, go to shop. There we go. Bit of an idiot. Okay, so I'm starting to make my presentations available to everyone who wants them because I know many people have asked me for them. So my idea is that if it's 25 pages or less, I'll charge $10. 25 to 50 pages, I'll make it $15. 50 to 100 pages, $20, and then over 100 pages, $25 for these presentations. What I will do is try and have a sale soon as well, just to take like 50% off or something, allow people to catch these. I will be giving my YouTube members and other supporters, I'll make available a presentation to them. I think everyone chose this one, nonsense. And so I will be putting all of these over time. Over the next few weeks, I'll be making all my presentations available for everyone who wants them. Hopefully you can use them for your own polemics, your own apologetics, and also your Bible studies and other things like that. Right, so yeah, just so you know, I have this on Coffee, right? On my Coffee page, coffee.com. I'll just drop this in the chat right now, so you guys have a link to that. Just, yeah, so if you'd like to get these, and then also what I'll do is at the end of this month, I'll have a call where I'll invite people, or very soon I'll have a call with everyone, and you can discuss, we'll discuss the first presentation, which is nonsense. If you have questions about it, if you've bought it. All right, so yeah, so moving on. Okay, now, from 1952 to 1959, Margaret Sanger served as president of the International Planned Parenthood Federation, known for planning to kill babies for the reasons Sanger gives above. Her father was a free-thinking atheist. She joined the New York Socialist Party around 1912. Because isn't it fascinating? Atheists are either Darwinists or Marxists. And Marx, Lenin, Stalin, and Mao were also socialists, so she kept great company. Is the call for members? I think no, I won't. Yeah, I do need to start doing. I need to figure out this whole membership thing and make calls. I've had calls, I've offered calls for members in the past, and then like no one shows up, right? So it's like, yeah, sometimes I get the feeling people just want to support what I'm doing, and which I'm grateful for, but I also feel guilty. I want to be able to do something and offer something to people who've supported and promoted what I'm doing and sponsored me. So, but I want to do public calls as well. So probably this weekend I'll just schedule an open call, and then we'll get a whole bunch of people on the line. You can do a Q&A or something. So privately, not on YouTube, but like a separate call. All right. So Sanger published 8 issues of the feminist magazine, The Woman Rebel. So feminism, well, she supported feminism, she supported Marxism, she supported eugenics and Darwinism and socialism. Great company, this feminism stuff. And they had the motto, no gods and no masters. Okay, so rejection of God, so fantastic. Brimming with articles about sex education, abortion, and the array of injustices that capitalism inflicted upon women. Thank you very much, Dragon. Yeah, so the Jaffe Memo. So briefly, let's look at the Jaffe Memo. There's multiple links to this. Now, this is something that is paraded often, but I wanted to see what can we factually deduce from this idea of the Jaffe Memo. It's a memorandum to Bernard Berelson, President, Population Council, found in the activities relevant to study of population policy for the US. So this was actually presented to the US government, right? And it says here, we want to encourage increased homosexuality, right? Encourage increased homosexuality. Yeah, we read that right. Fertility control agents in the water supply. Fantastic. Fertility. And then, of course, abortion and sterilization on demand. Fascinating stuff. Source: A Family Planning Perspective special supplement published by the Planned Parenthood World Population, New York City, 1970. So yeah, table of proposed measures to reduce U.S. fertility by universality or selectivity of impact. So this is a real thing. So remember, when a certain Jalex Owens, you might have heard of a guy called Jalex Owens, was talking about they putting it in the water supply. Yeah, the idea is real. The idea is actually very real. And the plastic in those little, the plastic, yeah, that stuff is, yeah, not good for you. And the stuff in the straws, the glue in the straws that they give the paper straws, that's bad for you too. And that causes these kinds of problems. Yeah, it does turn the frogs gay. It does. Yeah, that's true, actually. So, Studies in Family Planning, the Population Council. This is a publication from 1969, Beyond Family Planning. The following paper reviews proposals made for dealing with the population problem. Not see, you're the problem. Beyond the current efforts of national programs of voluntary family planning. You see, because it's not, this voluntary stuff is not working. We need to mandate this through the government. Bernard Berelson of the Population Council, and this appears in Science magazine. Fantastic. So these guys had actually made proposals to the government on this. Establishment of involuntary fertility control. The mass use of fertility control agent by government to regulate births at acceptable level. The fertility control agent is designed to lower fertility in a society by 5% to 75% less than the present birth rate. Substance unknown but believed to be available for field testing after 15 years of research work, 5 to 15 years, to be included in the water supply in urban areas and by other methods. Addition of temporary sterilants to water supplies or staple food, according to Ehrlich. Now, this is another one of these atheist idiots who believes that the world's going to explode because of the population bomb. And marketable licenses to have children. Alex someone, Alex someone, that guy. Yeah, Al X and his name with a J and then owns that guy. Yeah, he was actually right. Marketable licenses, so basically buy your license from the government to have a kid. So, yeah, buy your license. So understand, this is what we're dealing with. These guys, these are atheists, these moral atheists, these scientific atheists promoting these ideas. This is where Darwinism leads. And of course, now we have a population growth problem. That's why you have to import Africa into France, right? Yeah, which spirit would oppose being fruitful and multiplying? Exactly. Yes, correct. Stephen Young. Whereas Hitler had camps and localized gas chambers, Bill Gates is pushing for global eugenics via pharmaceuticals. Yeah. Have you seen the stuff in the paper straws? The chemicals that are in the paper straws that make them waterproof? These chemicals have exactly the same effect. Disgusting. I'm sure it's just an accident. And bisphenol A and those other chemicals that apparently have issues on testes and ovaries, I bet it's just an accident. So, yeah, he cannot be named aloud. Yeah, but do you understand? There's some serious issues here. Yeah. Okay, moving on. So, Family Planning Services and Population Research Amendments of 1973, hearings before the Special Subcommittee on Human Resources of the Committee on Labor and Public Welfare, United States Senate. This stuff went to the government. This stuff went to the government. Understand, these aren't just idle speculations. These people want this forced upon you through legislation. And if they can't do it through legislation, they will find other ways to do this. They are deadly serious. Right, the French Revolution, two major figures. Freemason Jean-Paul Marat wanted heads to roll. From September 1793 to July 1794, 2,000 people a month were publicly beheaded in Riyadh, Paris, many for unwillingness to support the atheist jihad. Of course, the first atheist government was the French government during the period of the French Revolution. They implemented the atheist paradise. They were rampantly overrun by Freemasons. All of them were occultists, and all of them were just insanely pagan, right? So now his anti-Christian eulogy was given by the atheist Marquis de Sade. And of course, the atheist Marquis de Sade is the source of the words sadism and sadist. So thanks, atheists, for giving us sadism. Comparing Marat to Jesus Christ after Marat was killed. And he wrote, O heart of Jesus, O heart of Marat, their Jesus was but a false prophet, but our Marat is a god. This man was a murderer, right? This man led to the death of thousands of people, but he's a god, right? But the Jesus, he's not a real guy. Long live the heart of Marat. Like Jesus, Marat detested nobles, priests, the rich, the scoundrels. I don't know if Jesus really hated the clergy. I'm not so sure. Like Jesus, he led a poor and frugal life. Fantastic. Okay, so, wow, Sheikh Bayadi, thank you very much. I like to watch Lloyd on the R site, his backup channel. Yeah, that one. Rhymes with Bumble. All my videos are backed up to Bumble and 2 other sites, just in case I ever get canned on YouTube. In which case, I'll stream on those. So look, they are sick animals, and we have to fight it. Yeah. So yeah. Hence, I'm trying to make these available, and hopefully, I can start doing little classes to show people how to use all this. Right? Discuss. I wasn't expecting to hear the Darwinist turning the freaking the turning the Gog's fray. I wasn't expecting to hear the Dominist turning the freaking Gog's fray. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, this is all comes out of these ideas, right? So now let's talk about the Marquis de Sade. This is in the national. Okay, so This is from Mediethics. Okay, this is from the National Library of Medicine. That's an article, and you can see here. I'll just do the highlights. So this is the Marquis de Sade. This is his book, The Philosophy of the Bedroom. In 1795, the atheist Marquis de Sade published his La Philosophie dans la boudoir. Okay, sorry, I just butchered the French here, but thank you again, Sheikh Riadi. In which he proposed the use of induced abortion for social reasons and as a means of population control. Hold on. We just saw now that these scientists, these atheists, these Darwinists are pushing population control through the government, through the American government, and through chemical means. And we know that Bill Gates, as just was mentioned in the chat, about that. Right? So these ideas come from one of the worst people in history, one of the most disgusting people in history, in which he proposed the use of induced abortion for social reasons and as a means of population control. Although previously the subject had not been discussed in public, it is from this time that medical and social acceptance of abortion can be dated. De Sade held all life cheaply and spent most of his life attacking God and the Christian church, just like Darwin, just like Darwin's friends, just like all these atheists. La Philosophie dans le boudoir attacked established religion, morality, family ties, and social structures as largely did Darwin, the atheists, and the atheist Marxists. All of them do the same thing. Anna Katana says, the dots are connecting. This is insanity. Yes, Darwin was insane. Darwin was a psychopath. These atheists like Dawkins, even though they speak in such dulcet tones, these people are promoting the very same ideas, whether they know it or not. Dance is with an S. Dance le... Okay, typo. So I make the occasional typo. I guarantee you guys this. You'll get one free typo in every presentation at least. Because, yeah, I notice. So after I read these things, I realize I've made typos. But it's a lot of work. I mean, you have no idea how many hours goes into this. It's just... So, yeah, I should run a spell checker on this stuff. Why people say, pardon my French. Yeah, pardon the French. Yeah. So, right, he advocated, so he attacked religion, morality, family ties, social structures. He advocated sodomy, incest. Well, Darwin was all about incest, right? His whole family was. Lust and cruelty for its own sake. De Sade scorned the view that man is not responsible for his own existence and God grants an embryo, his soul. I made a typo there. De Sade scorned the view that man is not responsible for his own existence and God grants an embryo soul. Yeah, man is not. Let me just fix that, actually, because that... Yeah, so... Am I going to find it in time? Jeez. Yeah, but then I'll have to... There we go. Fixed. Let me move this back and minimize that again and just continue. Right, the realistic view, according to de Sade, was that since murder is a trivial matter, since murder is such a trivial matter, destruction of an infant which has not achieved the age of reason is of very small consequence. Therefore, the author's exhortations were in agreement with the anti-religious, anti-clerical atmosphere in France during the Age of Revolution. His books sold very well. It is suggested that it was due to de Sade's writing that induced abortion received the impetus which resulted in its subsequent popularity and use in Western society. This isn't, yeah, there you go. You've seen the source of this. So we think there are a lot of weird people now, but then you can see people from the past, such as Marquis de Sade, makes you wonder, yeah, these ideas are evil. They've been around a long time, and there's nothing in this that is contrary to Darwin. Right? Darwin's ideas overlap well with these things. There's no issue here. So Darwin legitimizes de Sade. De Sade used a value system that justified his own feelings. His masterpiece is Philosophy in the Bedroom. So I'll stop using the French here. Nature, mother to us all, never speaks to us save of ourselves. Narcissism. Nothing has more the egoistic than her message, and what we recognize is the immutable and sacred counsel. Prefer thyself. Survival of the fittest. That's me. I'm the fittest, right? Me, right? Me. I'm fit, right? Look at me. I'm fit, right? Prefer thyself. Love thyself, no matter at whose expense. That is pride and that is narcissism. But the others, they say to you, may avenge themselves. If you go kill your neighbor because you want their stuff, because, as Darwin said, death brings life, let them come. The mightier will vanquish. He will be right. Might makes right. This completely aligns with Darwin's ideas. Very well, there it is, the primitive state of perpetual strife and destruction for which nature's hand created us, and within which, alone, it is of advantage to her that we remain. Nature wants you to kill people. Nature wants you to fight. Nature wants violence. Nature wants strife. This idea of strife, this is a pagan idea. This is very much pagan idea. This goes back, and we've touched on it earlier. This is very much pagan. This is a false idea of the world. It's a false idea of nature. But Darwin's ideas, the survival of the fittest, nature red in blood and claw, this idea that Darwin proposes is very much in line and completely it complements everything said here by Desad. So Darwin is like Desad, oddly enough. Strife like jihad, exactly. Eric Monte says, "You're human. I don't mind errors of typos once in a while. You're acknowledging his humility. You have not." Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I make mistakes. I mean, definitely. Let us give ourselves indiscriminately to everything our passions suggest, and we will always be happy. So in other words, do what you want. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. That is the Satanic creed, the Satanic temple, the Satanic church. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. Do what you feel. Do what makes you happy. The things that make you happy, these are pagan philosophical ideas that go back 2,500 years and more. And these ideas are promoted by the French Revolution atheists, the Enlightenment thinkers. These same ideas are coming back. Understand? So conscience is not the voice of nature, but only the voice of prejudice. So your conscience is just prejudice, and your conscience, do not listen to your conscience, he is telling us. Yeah, he said, just Google that guy. He wrote his sadistic books in prison and in insane asylums. Exactly. So does Darwin Desad have links to Islam? They're connected. Actually, yes, I believe you can connect Desad directly to... No. I wouldn't say that there's no connection, but yeah, there does seem to be some sort of parallel, some sort of overlap, but have I found a direct connection? No. Right, so yeah, you can connect Islam to there's the other guy, the prince. He wrote the Prince, the French noble who wrote the Prince. His ideas are rooted in Enlightenment atheism, seen as the pinnacle of Enlightenment science and understanding. Irreligion and disbelief in God and the supernatural are supposedly inherent to the unadulterated nature of humanity. Machiavelli, yes, that guy. Machiavelli, yeah. He seems to have taken ideas from Islam, certainly. Yeah, Machiavelli. Yeah. Right, but yeah, Stephen Young, but this is Aleister Crowley. This doesn't conflict with Aleister Crowley's ideas. These are satanic ideas, literally satanic, and Darwinian, and sadist. They all merge. There's no conflict between them. Yes, he was Italian. Right, so he's telling us here that, irreligion and disbelief in God are the unadulterated nature of humanity. We're supposed to be uncorrupted by fanatical and irrational religious beliefs such as Christianity. They need to explain to us what exactly is fanatical about this and irrational when murdering your neighbors, raping the disabled, killing people en masse is supposedly rational. They need to explain this, which the Enlightenment atheists believe to be responsible for all forms of oppression and ignorance. Hold on, if ignorance is sin, then that is also, there's a word for that, nonsense. That is Gnosticism. If they are railing here against ignorance, that means they are Gnostics. They believe in secret knowledge, that they are the ones, the elite with the secret knowledge. So at the end of the day, they are Gnostics. Do you understand? This is a complete and absolute philosophical and psychological mess. So Christianity is rational. We have the Logos. So I will be doing a stream on that. Pedro Jr. says, my goodness, this is dark. This is very dark. Yeah, I thought of calling this Dark Darwin, but it didn't rhyme very well. But do you understand where Darwinism leads? Darwinism is satanic. Bluntly, at the end of the day, this is satanic. So we presented this as science, but this is falsely called science. This is Satanism. This is paganism. This is death. Desad practiced libertinism to its extreme, living a life of immorality and debauchery. The very things that religious writers had claimed would occur in a society of atheists. Because people said once you kill God, everything becomes permitted. Once there is no God, all kinds of evil flourishes because there is no moral restraint against it. And who could never be moral without a deity to provide the original basis of right and wrong, because there is no moral law. The whole idea of atheism, as discussed in other talks, and where atheists admit, is so that they could do what they want without moral restraint, without having to follow God's law. Yeah. So, guys, I'll finish in a couple of minutes. So Marquis de Sade is a proto-Darwinian. Charles Darwin, like de Sade, asserted that nature is a constant battle where the strong have the right to eliminate the weak. Darwin did not delve into the specific social implications of this idea, just like Marx did not write the specific recipe for going from socialism to communism. Right? Lots of other people wrote that, but Marx knew he didn't know how to do it, and Darwin didn't want to deal with the implications because he knew it involved killing people in the millions. And he left it open to interpretation, as did Marx. There's an overlap here. The ambiguity allowed the social and intellectual elite to manipulate the principles of Darwinism to their advantage, leading to 2 centuries of warfare, oppression, and environmental destruction, as well as mass genocide. Huge mass genocide. Vegetal asbestos. Sorry, let me see. Someone said. Simon said all this information about Darwin should be put on flyers and distributed in every college. People need to know from what insane person accepted their evolutionary theory. Yes, look, I'll make this for sale. I'll fix up all the typos. I'll make this for sale. I'll make this available to everyone. And I hope that some people will, like buy it for your church group, buy it for your Bible studies, buy it for your own polemics, and, use this material. I mean, I'm making it available. I've put a lot of time and effort into it. The links are there. The resources are there. You'll be able to source everything that I'm saying. And, use it, because people need to understand how ugly and dirty and dark and evil this stuff really is. Horse says, what's horrible is that I bought into these outright myths for decades. Shame on me. Yeah, look, a lot of us were fooled by this. Constant jihad. Yeah, nothing to do with exactly. Yes. Darwin ultimately paved the way for the death of millions, and we're going to discuss that. As we get towards the end of this, we're going to see how Darwin caused the death of millions. That man has blood on his hands. Many continue to adhere to Desade's proto-Darwinian perspective of nature, perceiving it as inherently amoral, cynical, and a self-centered battle for survival, no different to Darwin. Now let's have a look at Marxists International. Go to their archive. This is marxists.org. Short Farrell says, such self-contradiction inheres in their philosophy. How can nature drive us to reproduce, but then destroy the weakest, the progeny? Exactly. These guys make no sense. The Descent of Man, yeah, he does talk about it, but they speak of, what is he mentioned here? He doesn't go into, shall we say, clear detail, but he implies warfare. He doesn't outright say it. But people understood. That's why there was such an outcry, because of his ideas, on the moral grounds. So Marxist.org, let's see what they tell us. It was in that asylum that on December 2, 1814, in full possession of his reason, Marquis de Sade was perfectly lucid, this precursor of Proudhon, of Fourier, of Darwin. So they're calling, Marxists.org, these Marxists, these socialists, state that de Sade was a precursor of Darwin, of Malthus, of Spencer, and all of modern psychiatry, Jung, and sick man Freud. Interesting that they've made this connection too. This apostle of the most absolute freedom. In other words, no moral restraints. This man who wanted all men to return to the source of their instincts. No, we are not animals. We are not wild animals. And ideas so they could have the courage to see themselves as they were and to bow only before real necessities passed away. Disgusting. And that's by Paul Eluard on Marxist.org, the Marquis de Sade. I'll just bring the link up. That's it here, the French. Yeah, the Marquis de Sade, Paul Eluard, and it's on Marxist.org. Yeah. He was one of France's great 20th century poets, the French. Always up to this nonsense. So there you go. All right. So I think, guys, I will end here. I think this is a good place. Okay. So I think I'll end here. And hopefully I've made my point that this is connected to Marxism. It is connected to genocide, to population control, eugenics, and even, rampant Satanism, paganism. Darwinism is not scientific. It is a theology that is satanic. So, guys, anything else any last questions? Because I think I'll end here. Horse, one day you and I should chat. You really, really should send me an email and I'll send you a link and or something. We should really have a chat one fine day. Yeah, there's some articles linking Darwin's evolutionary theory as being inspired by Rumi and Sufi ideas. Yeah, I covered that briefly in the very early part of this presentation. There's a lot of Muslim stuff that connects directly to Darwin's ideas. Correct. That is true. I'm not heavily focusing on that in this talk. I just briefly touched on it because it's not really a main thing. But yes, the Muslim ideas of evolution, which are just these Sufi philosophical ideas, they do exactly that. Can I debate IP on Darwin? I mean, I don't have to debate him on Darwin. It's just evolution is not something that is necessarily anti-Christian. You're confusing evolution with Darwinianism. The two are different. Darwinian evolution and evolution are not necessarily the same thing. And I made that distinction early in the presentation as well. So try to make the distinction. So Bay State Observer, Lloyd, this was another great live stream. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, it's the nature of man. Yes, Pedro, correct. I also hate when people say he was a man of his time, like Muhammad, So yeah. So yeah, guys, thank you. So that's it from me. Hopefully you'll learn something. Please use this. I'll make this one available soon, and I'll be adding hopefully one a day at least as I have time to all of the to my coffee shop, and you guys can buy these presentations and hopefully use them and share them. And I'll try and I've got another stream on Wednesday, The Great Apostasy. It's called Conspiracy Christianity. Actually, let me bring that up. So just so that you guys can see what this is. Yeah, I'm not feeling 100% my best, as you know. I do happen to have a cold. But I will be doing this one, The Great Apostasy, Conspiracy Christianity, right? And it's got a fairly lengthy write-up here, so you guys can have a look about what that is. And this is coming up on Wednesday, same time. So yeah, hopefully this will be useful to you guys to discuss. We're going to look at Protestant ideas, some crazy Protestant ideas. And yeah, okay, wow, thank you, Joel Thomas. Sorry to ask about this. Did you make that Crowley video? No, I have not made it yet. No, I'll do it as a live stream. I've got the notes. I just need to get around to it. I'm busy with so many ideas, so many things. But yeah, if you think it's priority, let me know, and I'll get around to it. Because at the moment I'm just doing so many different things, and I'm going to have to increase the amount of streams I do just to get through the material that I have. When is my Inquisition series starting? It's going to be long. It's just. I mean, I've got Darwin's going to be like 8 episodes, and then I've got some other stuff that's going to be like a bunch of episodes, and then I've got, so it's just how much time I can find to do streams. So the Inquisition notes are done. I just need to edit them into PowerPoints. So it's going to be a few months at least, 2-3 months at best, if not longer. Yeah. So. Yeah, Crowley, yeah, all this stuff is very ugly, but you understand these all connect. These all connect. From Satanism to paganism to Darwinism to Marxism, these are all the same thing. It's all the same ugly, dirty, filthy idea. So yeah, Christmas time I'll definitely do a sale on all of this and make it really affordable for everyone. Yeah, but I mean, this takes up a lot of my time. I mean, this weekend I spent 10 hours. I would say at least 10 hours working on this, The Great Apostasy. So I put a lot of time into this stuff, and that's besides the time that I spent prior, but getting all the notes. But this last push was about 10 hours. I still got to finish like another hour or so, just polishing it, getting a few things done at the end. But this one is effectively done. I've got another one because now we're looking at atheist irrationality, and I'll do another one talking about Christian rationality. Christians invented rationality the way we know it today. Science is a Christian invention. And thank you guys again for all the support, for the financial support. I really appreciate it. And yeah, please let me know what of these presentations I should prioritize so that I can A, put them on the store, and B, get them out to you if you have any ideas. Lilo Main says, I mod the Made by Jim Bob show, which starts at 12:30. Come join us. Okay, great. Hold on. So let me just get to that. Where is that comment? I'll make you a mod here. I'll make you a mod here as well then. Thank you, Lilo Main. 12:30 p.m. MST, what time is that? Because it's already 8 p.m. here, so it's going to be late for me. And I'm not well, and I have work tomorrow. I have to go into the office. So guys, thank you very much. Have a good night. I hope this was educational. You learned something, and I think we have nothing to be ashamed of as Christians, right? And much more. Oh, in half an hour. Okay, that's fine. Much more. Atheists have no leg to stand on. They should be ashamed of what they promote. They are promoting evil and murder. So thank you guys. Good night.